Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great week or a great weekend depending on when you're watching today's video. What we have here today, obviously as you can see from the title, is we're going to do a very quick comparison between the just launched HONOR Magic 6 Pro here in Malaysian market against the S24 from Samsung. So what we're having today is not like a direct competition between both devices. Obviously, in my personal opinion, today most phones that are released are already very good phones, and there's really only phones that suits a different kind or different sets of people. So every phone is tailored to a certain group of people, and by the end of today's video, hopefully it will help you find out like which phone suits you better and which phone might be the better value for you. Now without further ado, let's jump into the video right away. Now I've got a couple of points on my computer as usual, so I'll be browsing real quick over here. First things first, we have to talk about the price naturally. HONOR always gives us very competitive pricing here in Malaysia. I don't know about other regions in the world, but it's RM4499 here in Malaysia, and we are getting 12/512. So yeah, the price is not as high as the S24 which is currently retailing for RM6799. Now let's move on to some more interesting things. Performance. Well, since both are using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, at the end of the day, you're going to expect quite similar performance across both devices. I would say that the main difference here is actually in terms of the software. Now, if you are familiar with HONOR, you will know that they use Magic OS, and with the Magic 6 Pro, they actually launched their new Magic OS 8.0, and this is where you can actually see that there's been a lot of cosmetic changes. There's a lot of updates to the widgets. The widgets can now even expand further into giving you even more shortcuts, even more assets. Other than that, they also have this like magic window kind of thing where you slide stuff across to the right, and this is where you can expand more items. You can actually share it to your feed, your Instagram feed, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. You can even use it to search. So yeah, that's just in terms of what you can expect on the Magic OS. Now moving on to the Samsung device, naturally it runs on One UI, which again I think a ton of you are already very familiar with. It's good to see that Samsung has also been updating their One UI, and there's quite a couple of new tricks here. The new tricks isn't on the UI itself, which looks quite similar to the previous iterations, but what's new is that we do have that collaboration with Google, where they have that circle to search. You have those AI translation. You have a couple of AI stuff going on with the One UI as well. Anyways, both has their own pros, and I think it depends on you to make the final decision. Now let's move on to our second point here, and that's actually about the display. Now in terms of the displays, they do both come with quite similar but yet quite different displays. The similar thing here is actually in terms of the size. Now they are actually both 6.8 inches, which I did not actually realize in the beginning, simply because the way the Samsung S24 is shaped is that it's a flat display, it's very angular, it's very boxy. So at first glance, you might think that the S24 is like larger than the Magic 6 Pro, but they're actually the same size. Now what I like about the Magic 6 Pro by HONOR here is that they do use this kind of curved sides, because it's just much more comfortable to hold in hand. I mean, the S24 it's very boxy, and I've already seen a ton of comments of people just saying that it really pokes into their palm. In terms of the resolution, well, this is where Samsung is actually ahead, because they have like a super high res display over here. Apparently the pixel per inch is like more than 500, which ultimately means it is super sharp. But again, the Magic 6 Pro is again putting a couple of punches on its own. It gets very, very bright. In fact, it's actually brighter than the display on the S24 I was doing a camera comparison test yesterday during the afternoon, and I noticed that just taking photos during like super harsh sunlight, it was just much more brighter on the Magic 6 Pro, and it made it so much easier to just take the photo. So they've actually put in like one of the highest PWM dimming, and long story short, it means that there is less flicker. It will also reduce the eye strain if you're looking at your phones for a very long period of time. So yeah, I'd say that I personally would prefer the one on the HONOR Magic 6 Pro. Right, moving on to our third point here, the cameras. Yep, in terms of the cameras, again, I want to make this super clear. I've done like a ton of videos now, and ultimately, like I said, there is no bad camera on a smartphone today at this kind of price range. They're both great cameras here, but what they offer is a bit of a difference in terms of the look. Now I'm going to put a picture side-by-side comparison of the HONOR versus Samsung, and you can see that under certain circumstances, pictures might look better on the HONOR device. On some situations, it might look better on the Samsung device. It's very hard to say like under any exact situation, one phone will definitely be the better than the other, because they're just quite flexible in the way they react to processing the images. So it's very different. However, when we move to the night images, this is where I noticed that the HONOR device is actually much better than the one on the Samsung. Now this is because I think it's down to the processing as well. The processing here creates a more contrasty kind of look, an image that pops a bit more. And of course, there's also one cool trick here, and that is that HONOR actually uses a longer shutter time compared to the Samsung S24U, and by doing that, they can actually capture more detail, more light, more info, and ultimately produce a better image for you to see. Last but not least, in terms of the shutter speed, again, this is where I noticed that the HONOR was a bit faster than the Samsung S24U. Just in case you're wondering like which is the fastest shutter speed, this is where I would say that the HONOR is a bit ahead in that terms. Moving on to the next point, let's talk about battery and charging. Right, so both devices here come with fairly large batteries. HONOR has a larger one, 5.6K mAh. This has 5K mAh. And no surprise there, the HONOR device with its larger battery does tend to outlive the Samsung S24U in terms of battery life. When it comes to charging, obviously, again, the HONOR charges a bit quicker. Samsung has never been the kind of device where they focus on fast charging speed, so that's not what you're going to find over here. And it's just a bit more convenient to charge a device on the HONOR because it's just a bit quicker, the battery lasts longer, and the best part here is that the charger is in the box. So yeah. Now moving on to the final point, the design. Now the design thing is a very subjective kind of matter. I'm not sure which you might prefer. What I can say is that the HONOR Magic 6 Pro here, again, is a very curvy device. It's very comfortable to hold because you have curves on the back, curves on the front. But whereas for the S24U, it's retaining Samsung's corporate look. I would say it's very boxy, it's very edgy. So at the end of the day, it depends on which you prefer. But with the S24U, you do get the S Pen, which is only available on the S24U. So if you're the kind of person who takes notes a lot, writing with the pen, then yeah, I guess your only option is the S24U. One final thing before we go is obviously in terms of the durability. Now I think I've dropped the HONOR Magic 6 Pro too many times now. I don't really want to drop it another time. I guess I'll just drop the phone. So let's go, real quick one. Whew. Thank God, it's still alive. Now at the end of the day, which device is suitable for you? I would say that it's actually quite clear if your budget is under 5,000. If your budget is quite limited, 4K-ish, I would say, definitely the HONOR Magic 6 Pro here provides a very strong value proposition simply because it packs a lot of cool tech into a very compact form factor, sort of compact form factor. You're getting very strong cameras, great display, fantastic display, very strong performance, definitely everything that you can expect from a flagship today. So you're getting all that in the HONOR Magic 6 Pro. Now, if you have a ton of cash to spend on, well, I would say, and you really want to use back the One UI, the S24U is definitely the Samsung's top dog, the best of the best from Samsung, and yeah, that's where you can expect to get the best experience from One UI. Ultimately, if you ask me, I would say that why not just save a couple of $1,000 and get the HONOR Magic 6 Pro, simply because it's actually a very solid package. With that said, let me know your thoughts. Which one would you pick? Comment down below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.